What's going on, everybody? OGR back here with another Big Blue breakdown, and I'm gonna get started with a couple of little, I don't know, antidotes, if you will, some stats I saw. So yesterday was the first time the 49ers hadn't punted since 1993. We saw that on the game. But did you know that on third down, the Giants are giving up 58% of the time to the opponent? When they have the opponent in third, long, short, doesn't matter. They're giving up 58%. Sabrina, what's going on? Clock's what's on. Zachary's going on.
You mean the first down conversion percentage is 58% on third down?
Yeah, on the Giants, yes.
I'm not surprised.
So that's great. So let me get your initial thoughts.
My initial thoughts, this team reminds me a lot of an era. This era, for that matter.
I love it.
If you're a younger Giants fan, you don't know who those guys are. But if you are a little older, you know that's Dave Brown and Danny Cannell. And it was an absolute nightmare. And the team's bad. I think what disappoints me more than the team being bad and struggling and having injuries is the fan base. I'm really disappointed in a lot of Giants content creators and fans. I understand criticizing the team, being frustrated, but when I see people say they hate the team or they're not watching the team anymore or they give up, I'm like, are you an effing fan of New York Giants? Because if you are, it's going to be painful to watch. But you and I have already said this. If they're 0-15, we're calling Game 16. It's not going to be an enjoyable ride there, but we're going to stick by them the whole year. I'm not going to just stop calling the Giants for any reason unless Fox stops showing them on our TV. And then we don't have a choice. But we're bad. We're bad.
We're bad.
Right now.
Anything you want to add from this Sunday? I mean, I know it's tough to go over.
So you said you had two positives. Somebody shared something on Twitter. Apparently, Daniel Jones is keeping two hands on the ball now. So he's starting to correct the issues he had in the pocket, kind of having the ball hanging out there like a loaf of bread. So that's a positive. He did have a fumble, but that was the timing play with Evan Engram, and Engram should have had it. So that would have been one turnover. So the positive, he also ran well. Daniel Jones is the leading rusher. He looked mobile. Those designed runs, which is kind of nice. That was different from Jason Garrett and company. I was like, all right, design runs. Maybe they'll start doing more read option type stuff with DJ. He averaged, over 5 yards a carry? So those were positives on the offense. The receivers did nothing. The running game was dead. Defensively, I thought we were doing well until near the end of the first half. And then I don't know if the team just gave up in the second half, but the defense went to a bunch of backups. So I can't say anything positive about the defense. Special teams is good.
All right. So my two positives are Riley Dixon for MVP and Graham Gano. There we go. Those are the two positives, guys. Come on. Let's give it up for those guys. But anyways, all that being said, I just want to touch on some people. Harrison Jolly, what's going on? My man from New Zealand. Obviously, Kevin Cronin, Jay Berman, Clocks, diehard Giants fan. MYJ31, what's going on? Another Giants content creator. Zachary, what's going on? Sabrina, I'll get to your question in a sec here. Obviously, you still want to touch on the game. I mean, there's really not much to break down.
Zachary's the one, by the way, that shared the Twitter thing with me. So thank you, Zachary. About the
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Zachary says, OGR, you stole my Riley Dixon for MVP. Sorry, my man. Sorry. Well, at least Giants MVP. I don't know if he'll get league MVP. That's a tough stretch for a punter. But
I did say special teams are positive.
My thoughts on the game, I mean, a lot of people are coming down on Daniel Jones hard. It's one of his worst games as a pro. I know you took some positive. It's one of his worst. It's not the worst. To me, they were breaking down it analytically. It's one of his worst games as a pro.
Fact checking on that. Go ahead.
But to me, I'm not going to – it's a total 53-man loss. Like, people can try and break it down, and I watched, other Giants content creators try and break it down today, and they really couldn't because they were just frustrated. And it all led back to the same conversations we've all been having. Gettleman, Daniel, like Joe Judge, like all these guys, ownership that I bring up. It all comes back to that because Giants fans are frustrated and they're looking for scapegoats now, like we do almost every year when we go 0-2 or 0-3 to start the season.
Yeah, that has been a regular thing, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. So I don't know if you watched my 4-minute little rant that I went on today.
I did. I honestly don't remember much of it because it goes in and comes right back out again.
Yeah, I repeat myself a lot in these. I'm not gonna lie, but it feels to me that it has to be said. That's all.
What I was gonna say.
Do you want me to keep going and I'll come back to you?
No, I was trying to think. You have two catch things. Oh no, but the fact of the matter is,
yep.
At the end of the day,
yeah. Fact of the matter is, end of the day, that is my two phrases.
Yes, I know I heard them both today, and I was trying to pull them. There you go. All right, I'm done. Go ahead. By the way, quarterback rating wise, it was Daniel Jones. Just QB rating wise, third worst game.
Yeah, it's one of his top worst. So, I mean, we want to see improvement, but at the end of the day, if you go back and you look, I warned everybody that Shermer shouldn't have been let go, and I know you're not a big Shermer fan, but you're doing a lot to a young QB when you take away the person who drafted him, because our offense was good last year. It wasn't the greatest, but it was good. It was solid. Yeah. And if we had that offense, if that offense was on the field, against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Chicago Bears, or even the 49ers, I'm not saying we would have won one of those games, but we might be a lot closer in one of those games than even we already were.
Yeah.
I mean, is it possible with a Pat Shermer offense that we put up more points? I'm not saying the defense is going to be great.
Well, you have to remember too, and you pointed this out. I mentioned that we averaged, I forgot the points per game last year was, I think it was 18th in the NFL though. And you're like, but a lot of those games we were getting kind of blown out. We had some garbage time points, which kind of skews the numbers. So we have to take that with a grain of salt. But we weren't getting garbage time points, which this team's not even doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, we put up 9 against the 49ers unit that was heavily depleted offensively and defensively. I don't know what the big difference is from last year. I mean, Saquon Barkley was compromised for a lot of the season, so the running game was due to, except for like the first 2 games and the last 3 games of the year. Darius Slayton maybe was playing a little better. Evan Engram was out. I don't know what the difference is. I'm going to throw something out here. Maybe that may be a little odd, but this is kind of off the cusp, something that's different from last year to this year. When Daniel Jones was struggling, you go talk to Eli Manning.
Hey, a lot of people, I've heard people point that out. That is a very good point. I don't like the fact that Jason Garrett isn't taking deep shots. Like that to me is just inexcusable. You must, huh?
Do we have the talent though?
To have a wide receivers run streak routes when you have Ratley who can run like a 4-3 and you have Darius Slayton that can run a 4-4.
But can he catch? I haven't seen Ratley really throwing on too many great catches or any this season.
I hear what you're saying, but mix up the route tree. Like you can have 2 streak routes with 2 guys running slants. Like just basic packages. Yes, Zachary, they did give up a 3rd and 22, and I did say that 58%. The Giants are the league worst. They're giving up 3rd downs at a 58.5% rate.
Now you hold on, OGR. We did not give up a 3rd and 22. We gave them a first down via penalty. That's not giving up 22 yards. That's an automatic first down right there.
Oh yeah. But either way, it would be 1st and 10. So you're right. You're technically right. Sports Critic, what's going on? Sports Critic in the house.
I remember I had a hat like that. Would you burn your Giants gear, Sports Critic? The hell are you doing calling the Chiefs and Ravens tonight, you turncoat?
Oh wow. Low blow. No punches below the belt, TSR. No punches below the belt.
There's nothing there anyway.
So, where was I? Daniel Jones, Dave Gettleman.
We were talking about mixing up the playbook, running some deep routes, running some streaks, having 2 guys fly down the field. And if Ratley can't catch at all, at least he presents an option if he does get open, and it keeps the defense honest. Like we got to put somebody on him. We can't just let this. Even if the guy can't catch. Ted Ginn Jr. couldn't catch. Ted hands of stone Ginn, but he still caught touchdowns because he got open. And he caught one once in a while. Yeah, I said that's a Ted Ginn reference, folks.
No, I hear you what you're saying. So, you know what? Let me get your thoughts on Dave Gettleman, because obviously that's a big topic after the game. Because there's really not much to break down. I mean, I know I put breakdown in the title, but there really isn't much to break down in this game. It's a total 53-man loss. Like, there's not much more you can say about it. At least with the Pittsburgh Steelers, at least with the Chicago Bears, we could take some positives out of this game. Besides Graham Gano and besides Riley Dixon, we can take 0 positives. Caden, what's going on?
Yeah, and actually, you said 53-man roster loss. More than that, add the coaching staff to that, add Judge, add everybody involved in that game. It's way more than 53. That was a failure across the board.
Yeah, and Joe Judge took a lot of blame because a lot of people, and I know this is going to get tired in the New York media. He said this, and I don't know if you watched his post-game presser, but he's been saying this a lot, and it's okay now, but 3-4 weeks from now, they're going to start grinding him on this question because he always says, it's getting back to the fundamentals. And as coaches, we need to coach better. That's fine. That's fine. That's a good answer. But guess what? You can't be using that answer week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7. I'm not saying we're going to be 0-6. Not going to say we're going to be 0-7. But there are going to be more losses coming here.
Speaking of which, what's your record prediction? You have to throw it out there.
My record prediction still is 7-9 until we're mathematically eliminated.
I mean, I said 8-8. That was also with the expectation Saquon Barkley would be there for the whole season. And also, when I originally said 8-8, Nate Solder, as bad as he was, I thought he was going to be the starting right tackle, and then he obviously left the team for various reasons. I think Jonathan Baker was still on the roster when I said that. So, I mean, a lot has changed. What's nuts? Stupid kickerhead, Alec Rosas, gone. I mean, the team has changed a lot, not necessarily for the better since making that prediction. So people are like, you said they're 8-8. I'm like, yeah, but the team is different than it was when I made that prediction. I mean, if somebody said the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl and Lamar Jackson goes down for the year, they're probably not winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, sorry about that. I don't want to. The kids are being a little loud in the background, so I wanted to mute myself there.
I hope they go 8-8, but if they play like they have, especially if they play like yesterday, this could be the worst season I've seen as a New York Giants fan. The 3-13 is the worst right now with Eli, which was a disaster with McAdoo. If they continue the course, this could be a 2-14 team, and it hurts me to say that.
And you know what? It hurts me to say that too, but I don't even. I really just want to disappoint the Trevor Lawrence, the Trevor Lawrence rooters, the guys that I don't view as Giants fans. Because, 2-14 is good enough to get the number 1 pick. We go 4-12, we go 5-11, we even go 3-13. That's not guaranteed number 1 first overall pick. No. Just saying. There are going
to be teams that probably finish worse. And I got your sports critic. I'm just messing with you. Butcher's Pocket Patriots talk trashing the Giants a little bit. I always got one of these for the Patriots and one for the Red Sox too. So it's all good.
Hey, and give them one for the Celtics too, because they just got eliminated.
I don't really hate the Celtics, though.
Yeah, but
there's no rivalry between the Celtics.
I'm disappointed in my Celtics. I think they need to take the step to go to the championship. I mean, it's still something to be proud of, though.
Real quick, the only thing I think the Celtics actually probably more bitter towards us than us towards them, because couldn't you guys won a lottery ahead of us and drafted Tim Duncan? If I remember correctly. That worked out pretty good for San Antonio.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. Old sore. So, guys, I don't know when OGR wants to start fielding questions. I really don't have anything to say on yesterday's game. I mean,
yeah, I'll start fielding questions.
I start talking NFL, talking, whatever you guys want to talk about the Giants. But there's how much can you say when your team gets blown out 36-9 and looks bad offensively and defensively? There's so little to talk about.
All right. So Jay Berman says, OGR, if you thought 7-9 with Saquon, you still think so? What are you saying about Saquon's value? Jay, that's just me being optimistic. I'm not saying they're going to go 7-9. But I'm going to stick with the record position because it's the record prediction I made. There's really no rhyme or reason about that. I'll let you ask Zach. I'll let you answer Zachary's question.
Today's NFL players are usually starting year 1. Eli played 2 games, looked bad. Was it a mistake to yank him that quick and put in Daniel Jones? Maybe, but he's in there now. He had all of last season. Now he's got this season, so he's our starter. He should. What my concern is if this team plays poorly and DJ struggles like he has been, and then the Giants do what they did with Eli Manning and Geno Smith, where we knew what we had with Geno Smith. No point in benching Eli. The team was done, breaking up Eli's streak. If they bring in Colt McCoy, we know what Colt McCoy is. He came from the Washington football team. We've seen enough of Colt McCoy. He's a decent backup. He is not a starter. So my fear, it's not exactly what you asked the question, is that they pulled Daniel Jones too early, not starting too early. He's got to take his lumps this season. He's going to have to work through the turnovers, and there's going to be a lot of bad losses, but he's going to have to learn how to grow from this, because it's not how hard, what's the Rocky saying? Not how hard you get knocked down, but how quickly you get back up. And this could be a good growing season for him, but if the Giants pull the plug in week 9 or 10, then that would make me think that they don't believe him as their future quarterback. That's going to be rough.
We'll answer a clock's question. I tend to skip over these. Since we made a mistake of drafting Saquon, can we just build around him like the Titans did with Henry when our I'm assuming he means offensive line is solid.
Daniel Jones is a Ryan Tannehill type quarterback right now. He's athletic. I mean,
he does turn the ball over more than Ryan, though.
What's that?
He does turn the ball over more than Ryan.
Yeah, but Tannehill's first few years, I mean, except for maybe the turnovers, almost similar numbers. Yes, he's turning the ball over a lot right now. The biggest problem is the offensive line. It was neglected for far too long. We've talked about this numerous times, you and I. When you have something that you just let go to garbage and you're trying to piecemeal it and put it back together real quick, it doesn't work. Great offensive lines aren't built in 1 year. Built usually over a year or two, or 2 or 3 years. And we got our left side with Andrew Thomas. We're hoping he's our anchor. Next year in the draft, if we're drafting top 3, I wouldn't be totally against taking another offensive lineman to make sure that unit for the first time in forever is completely solid to help a returning Saquon Barkley from an ACL tear to protect Daniel Jones. I'm not big on drafting O-linemen. It's not the popular, cool pick to do, but my Lord, we need it. We need it. And Zeitler, he's getting up there in years, but he still has a good solid 3 or 4 years left. Willie Hernandez has been a bust. Maybe some of these other guys we draft, me or whoever, can pan out next year, but they're not ready this year. I don't know.
To me, the offensive line is a work in progress. You're not going to go out and spend big money on offensive linemen. I'm sorry. Even if Will Hernandez is not the all-pro second rounder that everybody wants him to be, he's still a solid guard in the NFL. It's not somebody that you're just going to be like, oh, you know what, get rid of him. No, he's no Quentin Nelson. Sorry, Clocks. But you know what? At the end of the day, to me, you gotta let this offensive line develop, and they're gonna develop. Matt Pert's gonna be thrown in there at some point this season, especially if we keep losing at this pace. You might be seeing him sooner rather than later.
Bobby had a good question from Butcher's Block and Patriots Talk. I don't know if you can see it. You might have to scroll up a little bit about Saquon Barkley. We've talked about this, but we'll certainly address it again.
No,
lower than that.
My part one there. But there it is. There it is. All right. OGR TSR. Thoughts on whether Barkley is injury prone or just unlucky? To me, maybe I'm playing Homer. To me, it's just he's unlucky. Ankle injury, unlucky. He gets hit on that ankle, it gets injured. This was a non-contact injury, but it's not like we've never seen ACLs before. But you know what, Bobby? It's going to be the narrative. That's going to be the narrative going forward. People have already begun saying that. Other Giants fans and YouTubers have been saying it all week. Saquon Barkley is a bust, and Saquon Barkley is injury prone, because people will sit there and say, well, he's only played, he's going to miss. He missed 3 or 4 games last year, and then he's going to miss a whole bunch this year. So that's going to be the narrative. So
I will say this. The answer is yes to both, because you look at Matthew Stafford, his first 2 years, he was unlucky, but he was also injured. An ACL tear, unlucky, non-contact, but also an injury. Same thing with the ankle, and he should have missed more games last year. I think we can all agree he was rushed back. He was not the same. He should have taken 2 more weeks off, maybe 3. I don't like calling him injury prone, but we got to look at track record. First full season, missed a few games, and he was injured a lot in many of the games last season. Now he's missing all this season. For him to shed the injury prone label that people are going to start putting on him, and I can't argue against it. I don't like it, but I don't really have a valid argument to say he's not injury prone. He's got to play in 16 games next year. If he misses 3 or more games, that label's going to stick with him, and that's going to really hurt his contract negotiations and could hurt his future with the New York Giants.
So Zachary, what's going on? Scotty H, what's going on? Nick the Wick, what's going on? Alex, I see you. Welcome in. Welcome. Zachary says, should we put in Pert? I'll let you answer that one very quickly.
Do we need to right now? We're not at that point, are we?
I don't think we are yet. I mean, but a lot of Giants fans. And actually, who can somebody answer in the chat? Because I can't remember Pert's number. Is Pert is the guy that came in for? Well, I know who Matt Pert is. He's supposed to be the right tackle. But did he come in for
Andrew Thomas?
Andrew Thomas when Andrew Thomas went down for a little bit in that game?
That's a good question. What's the
I
update?
can't remember what Pert's number is. I mean, I should look it up. But
what's the word on Andrew Thomas? I didn't even check his injury. Is he okay?
I have not checked on it yet. I haven't heard any updates on it though.
Sports
101 in the house.
Anybody in the chat knows what's the word is on Andrew Thomas? Please let us know. Alex Sports, toTsr, what do you think the final record will be at the end of the year? We got to talk about this a little bit. If they play like they did yesterday, and I got to hope that they turn around a little bit. If they play the rest of the year like yesterday, this is a 2-14 team, and I hope I'm wrong. That would be the worst season I've ever seen as a Giants fan. The 3-13 is right now, but if they play like they did yesterday, that's a 2-14 team, maybe even a 1-15 team. Now, luckily, our division rivals kind of up and down right now. Eagles kind of playing crappy. You never know what you get the Washington football team, so we could end up stealing 2, 3, maybe 4 wins out of the division. Against the rest of the league, we had a fairly tough schedule. So, I mean, the Ravens are going to destroy us. The Browns, who knows? The Buccaneers probably going to destroy our secondary.
Honestly, if we're going to play in any game, the only game I want to, if we're only going to win one game the rest of the season, the only game I want to win is against the Browns. Like, I hate the Eagles. I hate the Cowboys. I can deal going 0-2 against those teams if that means beating the Browns, just to shut Odell Beckham Jr. up. Yeah, you just love it. What's going on, Tatum, in the chat? Stand up, my man.
Let's take 2 wins. Let's beat the Browns and the Buccaneers because F Tom Brady.
Yeah. Dylan Renner says Andrew Thomas is questionable for this weekend. Right ankle injury. Anthony Rizzo corrected my Matt Pert. He said 74 is the number. So I was right on it. So Matt Pert did come in at left tackle. So they worked him out both.
By the way, Tanner talking sports, since he's been a Giants fan for a while. Tanner, are you enjoying my wallpaper? A little throwback to the dark days of being a New York Giants fan. I'm sure. I'm guessing he recognizes those 2 jabronis.
Yes. If nobody recognizes those QBs, you're not a Giants fan. I'm joking. Go ahead. Answer Zachary's question.
Do you think Garrett can get Jones to an Alex Smith type of player? Without the injuries, because he's dealt with some injuries throughout his career. I want him to do more than Alex Smith, because Alex Smith was a solid passer. He was more of the don't lose you the game type of quarterback. He wasn't the guy until his last season, I think, with KC. He was starting to air it out a bit, but he was generally the 3,000 yards, 20 touchdown, 5 interception type guy, but not a lot of pizzazz, not a lot of flash. I don't want to be that quarterback, a game manager type quarterback. I'd like to see more. I think we all thought Daniel Jones this year was going to be close to 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. That's going to be
a chance to be.
He does, but he's going to have to really. He's got a chance to be 30 on the wrong side, over on the INT side, and I hope that's not the case. I think he can be more than Alex Smith. He can be a scrambler like Alex Smith. Alex Smith was very mobile. People forget Alex Smith could run like nobody's business. But I'd like to see him develop as more than a passer than Alex Smith. Tanner said horrible.
Dave Brown and Danny Cannell, the good old days, right? Hey, and you know what? At least the Giants, my Lord, what are you doing to yourself? Are those rookie cards?
Yeah, they're worth 5 cents each.
My Lord. Why would you do this? You're a masochist. My mother called me a masochist for watching.
Because I know the dark. I know when there was the plague as a New York Giants fan. So this sucks this year. And when I say I see some positives, people are like, "There's no positives." I'm like, "No, I was a fan when Dave Brown and Danny Cannell were the starting quarterbacks."
Insert cannoli here.
Insert cannoli.
So So Giants fans want Dave Gettleman fired, and nobody's really touched on this in chat. Do you want Dave Gettleman gone? Do you not want Dave Gettleman gone? If so, let's hear it. If not, let's hear it, because we know how I feel, but I'll still go on my little tangent here after you answer.
That is so tough because I do like some of the moves he's made. But people have also said, what talent do we have that makes you think this team can really pull off wins? And I kind of sat back and I was like, no, not all the players are his fault. Sterling Shepard was before, I believe Gettleman got there. Ingram was picked before he got there. But in the end, the GM puts the roster together. And when I look at the roster, I'm like, yeah, we suck. I mean, I hate to admit that, but I'm looking and I'm like, offensively, Darius Slayton, I still believe he can be something. Golden Tate is decent, but then when I look after that, I'm like, we are so thin at wide receiver. I mean, I like the Devontae Freeman move, and yes, he didn't look great Sunday, but it was his first freaking game with the Giants. He was not going to get 20 carries for 100 yards. It's tough. He seems like he's made the right moves. People hate the Saquon Barkley pick, but that's a generational running back, a franchise running back. And they took Willie Hernandez in round 2. And then we get Xavier McKinnon this year in round 2. Of course, is injured. And he drafted the offensive lineman we all wanted him. You know, the Daniel Jones pick is always going to be kind of a question mark because not necessarily that we picked Daniel, it's when we picked Daniel. Was it too early? We don't know because the Washington football team could have picked him at 15. We just will never know. That's that hindsight thing. The DeAndre Baker pick was terrible. That was a bad pick. We got to call him on that. A lot of analysis I saw had him ranked as the 4th best cornerback in the draft, and we took him. We traded up for him, didn't we?
Yeah, but I think one or two corners were taken before him. Was he the first one still off the board? I can't remember.
He was early. I don't remember. I know there was a couple.
He was 30th. I don't know if there was corners taken before him.
That pick's going to look bad. The OBJ situation, that was a lose-lose. He inherited a mess with that guy. I think he's done a passable job. The problem is people look at the record. They're going to look at the record, and it's heavily slanted towards the losing side of things. So we've talked about this. If the Giants lose more than 10 games, he's going to get fired. Whether I think he should or not, whether you think he should or not, whether Giants fans do, he's going to get more than likely going to get fired. And who's going to come in and do a better job? That's the problem.
So Entertainer says, I don't think I want Gettleman gone. I've just accepted that he's going to be fired. It's kind of like when I grew tired of defending Eli, he's going to take the blame.
Yeah,
you're right. And he is going to take the blame. And my thing is, I'm not excusing any mistakes he's made, but I'd like somebody to tell me what GM bats 1,000. I'd like to know what GM doesn't make mistakes on picks, what GM gets every free agent right. There's plenty of things. I could go through Howie Roseman's record and show you all the mistakes he's made or all the mistakes he's drafted. But Howie Roseman.
Anthony Rizzo answered our question.
He was okay. Thank you, Anthony. On I appreciate that, my man.
First corner.
So getting back to what I was saying, what GM bats 1,000? We have no continuity. You're never gonna get where you want to go if you keep hiring and firing, and then not even hiring, firing both at the same time. At least I'd be more understanding of that. You keep one, then you fire one, and then you hire another, and then they're not on the same page. Like if Gettleman goes, and Tana said it in his video today, it's very likely that Joe Judge and Daniel Jones could go because who says the next GM is going to agree with these two guys? So it's like I want continuity for the sake of continuity, right or wrong. Like I'm not excusing what Dave Gettleman did, but for everybody who wants Dave Gettleman fired, let's not remember who hired him and then kept him on. Same thing with Jerry Reese, and same thing with the Eli Manning back and forth with Ben McAdoo. And the same thing with any other thing you want to point to, any big pick. Let's face it, John Mara and Steve Tisch picked our coach, not Dave Gettleman. Not to say Dave Gettleman didn't have any insight. He did, but Dave Gettleman's pick was Pat Shurmur. Our ownership thought Pat Shurmur, no, Dave Gettleman, we're going to handcuff you. Here's who you're working with. And they put kid gloves on him. So, I mean, it pisses me off. And if we start 0-2 next year, what are you going to hear? Fire Joe Judge. That's why I say if you fire Gettleman, which I don't want, and I love Joe Judge, and I like Daniel Jones, because I got to give a guy more than 15 starts.
Yeah.
I like both these guys. But if they fire Dave Gettleman, I want what I said in my video today. I want the whole roster turned. I want complete wipeout.
Well, it will be.
You can get
Saquon Barkley, the guy that comes in, didn't draft Daniel Jones.
I didn't mean a whole roster wipeout, but I meant just like GM, coach, all the coaches. I want a complete roster turnover.
It could be. You've talked about this. If a new GM comes in, you might not think Daniel Jones is the guy. Gone. He might look at Saquon Barkley and say, injury prone. Gone. He might break everything down, and now we're in another 3 to 4 year rebuild again. And if that doesn't work, guess what? That GM gets fired, and we're starting all over again.
All right.
What happened to teams? Look at the Cleveland Browns. They've sucked forever.
All right. So I got to get the questions and stuff here. Bobby, what's going on? Everybody say hi to Bobby. Everybody say hi to Bobby. Bobby, what's going on, my man? OGR, you said in the video today, my biggest thing is I'm scared of is sacking Gettleman and hit the reset button because I like Judge and I want him to be given a chance at least 4 or 5. Steven, you're not getting 4 or 5 years. Believe me, I want to give him 4 or 5 years. I'd love to give Gettleman 1 more year after this. It is not happening, my man. I want it to, but that drum beat is happening, and it's when that drum beat stops, Gettleman's gone, man. I really hate to say it.
By the way, something we should do because he plugs us. If you are a New York Giants fan and love New York Giants daily content to somebody that really knows the team front and back, entire roster, the guys on the bench, the guys that are cleaning the toilets, subscribe to the Entertainer Talking Sports. Nobody puts out more Giants content than him that I know of.
Yeah, and that is a very good yes. We should plug him. And you know what? While we're in the plugging mood, if you guys love what you're watching, smack that like. And considering me and my man next to me, work together, what, 3rd day in a row, about to be the 4th day in a row. His link is in the description box below because, guys, treat to you. I know not everybody's political here. We're going to call it down the middle, but we'll be doing the live play-by-play of the presidential, I was about to say election debate tomorrow at 9 o'clock. So be there or be square over on TSR's channel. If you're not sure where you find TSR's channel, links in the description box below.
It's going to be funny.
Zachary says OGR and TSR for ownership.
Can't afford the Giants. That's, I have a good job, but not that good.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we can get the state of Connecticut to bite them. I don't know.
I'm broke.
I just want to see if I missed any questions here. I know a lot of the scroll went there. Fire Gettleman turns mayor and James Dolan of the NFL. Pff, you are 100% Jay Berman. Just highlight that one real quick. All right, here's one. Is it over for DJ if he plays horrible this week?
Shouldn't be. Cute picture, by the way, of your kid.
Yes.
It shouldn't be. And if the Giants bench him after week 4, oh man, he's got to grow. He's got to learn to grow through this. I mean, Vinny Testaverde ended up having a pretty solid career. If you don't know who he is, he had massive issues with interceptions. I think his rookie year, he threw like 13 touchdowns and an NFL record, 35 pickles or close to NFL record, eventually turned into a solid quarterback. Now, I'm not saying if DJ's throwing 4 interceptions a game, he should stay out there to the end of the season, but he's got to be out there for at least till week 10 because we know we have in Colt McCoy, a backup quarterback. Just like DJ in the whole year. Take his lumps, and if he can't grow from this season and let the season derail him and depress him, and then he's not the guy. Because in the NFL, you got to be able to stand up when you're knocked down. And if you can't stand up when he's knocked down, then he's not the guy. I hate to say that. I like him. I hope he succeeds, but you can't take a little losing or a lot of losing and still rebound from it and just say, hey, I'm still going to go out there and try to win no matter what, which we did see. He did try to win yesterday. The team was bad. So that's all I got.
Things Dave Gettleman can say to save his job. Nate Solder dropped out of the season. And Beal. Barkley gets injured. 2nd-round pick McKinney injured. No preseason. Kem needs to develop. Rona, 3rd round pick. I mean, you know what? He could say all those things, but at the end of the day, I hate saying it. I'm getting tired of saying it now. But it boils down to a win-loss record. It really does. And you've got to show something going forward. The Giants need to salvage this season. If the Giants want to turn things around, they've got to pick it up these last 13 games and probably go 6-7. 6-7. The Giants would have to go 6-7 in these last 13 games. That is a tall ask because I think we're losing against the Rams. I think we're losing against the Cowboys. And the Redskins right now are a toss-up. That's our first win. That's 1-5. So that's game 12, game 11, game 10. Yeah. So, I mean, at that point, now you got to go on a run. You got the Eagles twice after that. That's
People are calling for Carson Wentz to get benched.
Yeah, but Eagles fans are even more overreactionary than the Giants.
Yeah, a little bit. We can beat the Eagles. I think we can. Not sure about beating the Cowboys at this point. The Cowboys have been.
They've been menza. The problem is even with our on an offense is so anemic. It's like you're gonna have to go score for score with the Cowboys.
Yeah, the Cowboys are gonna get a pick six or a fumble recovery for a touchdown. The defense is gonna have to score probably for us to beat a team at that level, which can happen.
I did it. I did it again.
The football. Yeah,
you meant Washington football, and I said Redskins again.
I heard you. I didn't want to. I was going to let it go. I actually let one go. You happy?
Here's a question for you. Who's worse, Jerry Jones or Mara?
Yes. Jerry Jones, I don't know what the deal with that team is. I mean, he got himself a little too involved in the team, but when you look at the talent that team had, they should have made a Super Bowl with Tony Romo at one point, but they never did. I mean, I don't know what their deal was.
Last 25 years, my man.
Yeah, they were last in 95, right?
Yep. Yeah. Or 26 now, I think.
95. It was because they won 90.
96, sorry. They won 96.
91, 92. Then Dallas won 2 years. Yeah, Dallas won 2 years in a row, and there was a gap. But yeah, it's been almost 25.
So, Cowboy X Factor in my man. What's going on? You should add Stephen Jones in there. That is true. Stephen Jones has had a bigger piece of the pie over in Big D. Eventually, he's just going to take it all over. In years to continue going south, I have to come to terms with the fact that Gettleman's gone. I hope we bring someone in that will change things for the better and not just not be a new. Well, a lot of Afghans, to piggyback off that, a lot of Giants fans, I've heard other people talk about this. They want somebody outside the organization. And a lot of people fear what I've said for a little while now. We might be getting our assistant GM to replace Dave Gettleman. That's a possibility. And I don't see him changing anything.
And you know what, Stephen Lee just kind of said that too, asking like people are saying tank for Trevor. Okay, so the Giants end up tanking for Trevor. What is Trevor Lawrence going to do behind that offensive line? Get sacked, turn the ball over, and then get torn apart after 5 weeks. Where Giants fans saying we shouldn't have tanked for Trevor. What did we do? Why do we get rid of Daniel Jones? Blah 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 blah. It's going to be a cycle, a continuous cycle. If we tank for Trevor, which I don't endorse 100, at all, what is he going to fix? You're going to drop one quarterback that's inexperienced with a garbage offensive line and drop somebody else that's less experienced. And that's never played in the NFL. And what if he turns into a Ryan Leaf? And that does happen.
Yes. And not to mention, I don't really like Trevor Lawrence, but people did point out that Trevor Lawrence going up against good defenses, his stats drop a lot at Clemson. Clemson plays a lot of cupcakes on that schedule, and it pads a lot of his stats. I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence can't be this great machine, but I've never been thoroughly impressed with Captain Sunshine. If you don't know, he's from California, so they call him Sunshine. So that's his nickname. Just to let you know.
I do say the cycle Cowboy X Factor, and it's true. If you have a problem, like if people said, get rid of Saquon Barkley and draft a running back, it's like, so we're going to be in the same situation where you have a running back that gets handed off the ball and there's two people in his face. Trevor Lawrence is a Band-Aid that doesn't fix anything. It's just, it changes the narrative. And will he turn the balls over as much? Maybe, maybe not, but he's still going to have the same issues Daniel Jones running into, where his receivers are dropping balls, receivers aren't getting open, and the offensive line is terrible, and the play calling has been suspect so far. At least Garrett got DJ running on Sunday, but that was almost out of a necessity, I think, because the actual running game was not very good, as usual. We're the worst running team in the league, are we? Under 3 yards a carry?
Yep.
How many yards did we rush for yesterday?
Daniel Jones led it. I know Daniel.
He had like almost 50. So it's probably the overall numbers were probably okay, but if you just look at our running backs.
Yeah. So Dalen Renner says this. Apparently, I heard Tish has a big problem with Mara because he isn't listening. He isn't listening to fans, and Tish is. Tish is a moron to listen to fans.
Why would you ever?
Wellington never listened to fans, and I keep saying Mara needs to take a page out of Wellington's book, and he won't
ever.
Wellington did what he thought was best for the team. He didn't give a shit what the fans thought.
You know who listens to the fans and should listen to the fans? Vince McMahon, because he's trying to promote a star. Dana White, if people are getting behind the guy, maybe another fight. That type of stuff, you listen to the fans because the fans are going to dictate who's popular and which fighters they want to see. When it comes to putting an NFL team together, you don't listen to the fans.
Because they'll tell you to fire somebody every year. Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. I can really only answer this, and the answer is neither. Because I am not a big Ohio State quarterback guy. I understand what Justin Fields did, but both guys play with 5-star recruits. It's like, how can I accurately judge these guys? So the answer is neither for me.
Agreed.
Stephen Lee says Tish can listen to Bad Dog.
Guys trading pick a lot of so if we trade down.
So if we get a top 3 pick, are you guys trading a pick, a lot of second round, maybe a first round pick, 2 first round build it? It all depends how it shakes out because we just addressed the offensive line big time. You took your future left tackle, you took your future right tackle, and you have your future right guard in Shane Lemieux. Like, eventually these guys are going to get time this year. You know, Kevin Zeitler, I have a feeling next year Kevin Zeitler is going to go, and so is what's his face there that I'm thinking of, 65. Yeah, they're both going to be let go.
Is he an option next year?
Oh, he's getting cut. He's
not coming back. I think
he's definitely not coming back.
If we cut him this season, we took a huge cap hit, but next season we don't.
But somebody was telling me that it kind of like rolls over. Whatever happens this year, he has no place on this team, regardless of what the cap hit is or not.
And I respect him not playing because of his ill son. That makes 100,000,000%. You know, that's very logical, but he hasn't really shown us anything. We took a chance to sign him. That was a Dave Gettleman move, wasn't it?
Nate Solder was a Dave Gettleman free agent signing.
Yeah, Dave. You know what? We needed. He tried to address an issue, and coming from the Patriots, protecting Tom Brady, thought he would give us that same protection or better, and he actually was worse with the Giants. He got his fat contract, and I don't know what happened, but he got fat. It didn't work out.
Dora says, I called 4-12 before the season, and Kid Blue in the Hub called me crazy. I mean, you can't blame guys for trying to be optimistic, man, Dylan. You might have been right, just like Clocks predicted the same thing you did. Like, yeah, we called you crazy because, well, let's face it, nobody expected this team to go 4-12, even with what they had. I thought at least we'd win one of the first 3 games, to be totally honest with you. And obviously Chicago being the one that I thought would be the most winnable out of all of them. And I severely overestimated this team, apparently.
A little segue. This is to the chat and to you. Who is the Chicago Bears quarterback moving forward? Is it Mitch Trubisky or the shining hero that saves the game again, good old Nick Foles?
It's Nick Foles.
Probably.
You can't bench Trubisky in the fourth quarter of a big game. Let Nick Foles come back and then not. No, it doesn't work that way. Sorry.
I think the Bears are done with Mitch.
Zachary?
Go after him.
No. No. I want it. Don't get me wrong. I want it, but no.
I wish. Not without Saquon Barkley and Sterling Shepard. I mean, if Xavier McKinney was healthy and Saquon was, if we had all our guys, I'd say, hey, maybe we can turn this thing around. But we're missing too many players. The benefit, and this is why I said pods are coming in a video I did recently, is you can only suck for so long, and eventually the team should start to build and turn things around. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes it takes a long time. The Buccaneers sucked for what, 15 years before it took them before they turned things around. But I'm hoping the Giants get their heads out of their double S's.
So Zachary says, OGR, can the Giants run the table out of no, sorry, that I already did that one. No, there was another one. Oh, Clock says Foles was named the starter. So
he was.
Thanks for letting us know. Yes, he was.
Oh, all right. Thank you. I didn't realize that was official. Thank you, sir.
Yep. If you are head coach or offensive, what do you try differently versus the Rams? Better double team Darnold and use K. Smith and Little a little more. Utilize Lewis as a pass catcher. My man, you kind of answered it. I mean, I'd like the Giants to go deep, but are you really going to go deep against Jalen Ramsey? That is going to be tough. But the Giants need to stretch the field and make it so teams can't come in the box and stop the run. Utilize not the option.
Play action?
Not play action. Oh my God. Why can't I think of it?
I can't see inside your head, man.
I know you can't, but just
streets.
No, it's just oh my God.
Flea flicker.
No, just use Daniel Jones in more of an option run like they did. They did none of those against Pittsburgh and Chicago Bears. What they did against the Rams, they got to do more RPO. Thank you, Zachary. I just drawing a blank on RPO.
Yeah, well, I think we said read option. More design runs. I mean, it seemed to work, and because our running game is suspect
Dylan
right now,
says bootleg, slide away from pressure. It's not bad either.
Bootleg, he's a mobile quarterback. Start using it. Don't use him like RG3 and Shanahan did with the RED skins back in the day. Don't put him in spots where he's going to get hurt. Although we've seen Daniel slide. He is smart enough to do that.
Okay, so Stephen Miller says, if you were Giant GM, how do you fix the Giants?
The issue number one is the offensive line, I think. It's been bad for a long time. It really affected the last few years of Eli's career. It's really hurting this team right now. We're taking steps. We won't really know until the end of the year because as this line plays together, and they haven't, we got a lot of young guys. Maybe some young guys will start that we didn't expect to. If this line starts looking good at the end of the year, which is possible, we've seen moments where they've looked okay and shown some improvement. If they can be a cohesive unit and be average at the end of the year, maybe we're one lineman away from having an above average line, which we haven't had, since the Super Bowl? Right around that era, Super Bowl 46. And again, they're boring picks. Talking about the offensive line is not one of those videos. It's like, ooh, you're talking about the offensive line today. I'm going to click on that. But it's a massive necessity for an offense. If you have a garbage old line, not many quarterbacks can overcome that. Tom Brady, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Admit it or not, but the Giants got to him in Super Bowl 42 and 46. And even the best quarterback, when he's got pressure, turns into an average to below average quarterback. And if our guys are always under duress, quarterback or running back, if Saquon or whoever's in the backfield is getting the ball and there's somebody in his face, you can't succeed that way. So got to get the hog mulling thing going. We need a stout offensive line, and it's a boring pick next year, guys, but it's something that's been neglected for so long, and now we're trying to, working in reverse. You know what I mean? We're trying to repair something that's been terrible for years. And of course, we drafted Eric Flowers, which was a bust-a-rooney.
Okay, so
Big Blue Jabroni, Giants going to win this week. It's a lock.
Wow. Big Blue Jabroni laying it down. I love it, my man. But he also said it this week too with the Niners, I believe. So how do I fix the Giants? Well, right now everything's about assessing. Really assessing our biggest needs. I know for me it's about what can come together at the end of the season and find out, okay, what can I fix? Because right now, regardless of what I do, I'm going to have at least 2 new starters going on that offensive line next year. I know it's going to be Pert, and I know it's going to be Lemieux. Andrew Thomas is going to stay. Gates is probably going to stay. All is going to be line is going to be together. So I just got to hope these guys kind of fix it themselves. I even believe we have decent backups in back of them. Because maybe I still re-sign Cam Fleming for a lesser deal to keep him. So the offensive line good there. I got to see what I have in Daniel Jones. Because if Daniel Jones shows me stuff going forward where I can fix it, now it's just about getting reliable weapons around Daniel Jones. Guys, wide receiver that can stretch the field, a possibility. A tight end's a definite. A reliable tight end is definite. Get that big time underneath route. Because right now it's about surrounding him with weapons. Obviously, I need a CB2. I need more reliable pass rushers that can beat their one-on-one quicker. But I do have a lot of guys that would be excellent backups. Again, the Giants are a young team. It's hard to project everybody. But that's just kind of the things I've been spitballing and throwing out there.
Yeah, were we, as Giants fans, you, me, and folks in chat, did we kind of overrate the offensive talent on this team? Because we kind of stepped back and we're like, Saquon Barkley, who is obviously a Pro Bowl caliber running back, but then we looked and we're like, we got Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton and Golden Tate and Evan Engram, and Engram's done really nothing except run fast in his whole career. He hasn't had really a great season. Golden Tate's best years are behind him, and Sterling Shepard has been a disappointment. Darius Slayton had a great rookie year, but he could have a sophomore slump. So did we, before the season started, look at those weapons and go, man, Daniel Jones, look at the weapons he's got to throw to. And then you kind of sit back and like, wait, he doesn't have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that level of talent around him. What did we overestimate the offensive capabilities around Daniel Jones? I think I did.
Here's the thing. It's a tough question to answer because you look and you say to yourself, okay, all these guys, it's about consistency. And there's been none. And that's why we're a bad team. Mm-hmm. It's like, where can I reach on this team where I know I'm going to get consistency? And there isn't one friggin' place I can look on this team where I'm going to get any sort of consistency week to week. So how do you build an inconsistent team into a consistent team? That's essentially your answer. And I don't know. So yes, in a way, do we overrate? Yes. Were we hoping? But we're also hoping that these guys can develop, I guess. Because if not, if Sterling Shepard's not the guy, well, Dave Gettleman should have never signed him to the contract. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you only have so many draft picks, and you're not going to go out there and start spending on wide receivers. Even though like somebody like Vincent Rappersardi, Big Blue and Bias, thinks we should go trade for Adam Thielen, which I don't see why the Minnesota Vikings let go of Adam Thielen for any reason.
They already got rid of Stephon Diggs, so you never know. I've heard the Thielen-Cousins relationship now is getting a little shaky, so...
No, I don't think Ryan at CB2 right now. J Barrett was a better draft center, bro. There's one buddy. How do we feel about ties in the NFL because of Cleveland and the Eagles?
I will answer that the same way Donovan McNabb did. There's ties in football. He said that after a game ended in a tie. I'm fine with it. Whatever.
I think it should be like soccer.
Just like kick field goals until somebody misses, keep moving it back.
No. I just keep playing until somebody wins. I really don't care.
I want to throw something at you. We were just talking about the offensive weapons. Saquon Barkley, whether we like it or not, is probably going to carry the injury-prone label right now. And it's fair. I can't really argue it based on his 3 years. Evan Engram has the injury-prone label. Sterling Shepard, I guess we got to put the injury-prone label on him now. I just looked at it. He's rookie. He played all 16 games, and the next year he missed 6, and he played 16, then he missed significant time last year. He's going to miss time this year. So 3 out of 4 years, he's missing significant time. That's kind of injury prone. So how can you win in the NFL, and how can a rookie quarterback develop if your guys are always hurt? You were talking about the consistency thing. Our guys are always hurt, and I didn't really think of that until while you were talking. I'm like, Shep's always hurt now. Engram's always hurt. Missed 8 games last year. And now Barkley, he's out for this year. No team's going to win that way. So we can knock Dave Gettleman all we want and knock DJ. The offensive guys are always hurt. That's why we suck. Well, that's one of the reasons we suck. Add that with a bad offensive line with injured position players, you're not going to win games.
So Entertainer says Jones is not getting a fair shake. The second we fire Pat Shurmur, we significantly urge development. Tana, at the end of last year, even though I was totally like, oh no, we shouldn't. I sat there and advocated for it. I said we've got to keep Shurmur this why, but Tish listened to Bad Dog and said he's fired, and it didn't work.
You sure that's what he said?
Yeah.
Are you sure you didn't say you're fired?
Okay, you went up to me. Screw you.
Vinny Mac, come on, man.
Somebody
did ask earlier, way in the chat, are the Bengals better than the Giants? I mean, record-wise, they are. They're 0-2-1. We're 0-3. So when the NFL power rankings come out tomorrow, the Giants are going to be 31 or 32.
Yeah, that's completely and utterly true.
And they should be there. They've shown us no reason why, how they're going to win a game anytime soon. And the Rams, I thought that's going to be, which we're calling on your channel next Sunday at 1 p.m. That might be a tough one, but we'll be there. We'll be there for 3+ hours to call the whole game, and we're going to try to stay positive. It's tough right now. I know a lot of Giants content creators, I'm not calling out specifically, but there's been negativity in the community. There's negativity in Twitter. There's negativity with fans. People are asking me how much did Gettleman pay me to make my video yesterday where I said I love the New York Giants no matter how bad they are. We want to try to stay positive because there's a lot of negativity in the world right now. And, if you come to our chat, we're going to try. We're just going to, no matter how bad things are on the field, we're still going to support the team and love the team. We're not going to like it. We'll criticize them for bad stuff, but we're still going to we're going to bleed big blue, if you will.
Cue Donald Trump memes. You're fired. Hey, listen. I can't do a Donald Trump voice. It's terrible. But I do love it.
I don't even can't think of anything he says like off the top of my head. Besides, you're fired.
Yeah.
New York Giants. Does he have a little New York accent? New York Giant. I can't. I'd have to hear him. I could try to replicate it if I heard him, but I don't. I can't remember.
To me, actually, I'm not even going to say what I was about to say because it's actually just mean as hell.
One thing he says. China. The
China virus. The China virus, guys. Anyways, do you guys think that we should go back to a base 4-3? I don't really think that's a problem. I mean, the Giants historically were a 3-4 in the 80s, and you can make the 3-4 work. To me, it doesn't bother me. There's really not a huge difference.
It should be noted, the personnel we had in the 80s, a little better than what we have right now. I mean, we have some good players out there, but not the same crew.
Listen. I'm trying to do it. I can't do it. I can't. Jets and Broncos worse than us. Falcons 0-3. At least Falcons had a chance of beating teams. I mean, Falcons are embarrassing, but if there is a team worse than us, I can say confidently, it's the Jets.
This is the greatest country in the world. I don't know.
we're gonna be trying to perfect our Donald Trump voices.
Yeah, we're trying. And then for Biden, I do have a good Biden impersonation tomorrow night.
What?
We're not being biased tomorrow. We're gonna call it down the line, but Joe had. The reason we're calling because we know Donald Trump is going to say something absolutely stupid and it's going to make us laugh. It could be offensive. It could be inaccurate. He's going to say something that makes us go, "What in the world?" And then Joe Biden. Let's be honest. He's up there in years, and there's going to be a moment where he can't put a sentence together because we've seen it. Every press conference, there's one time he can't put a sentence together, and then the Donalds are going to say something about it, and they're just going to – it's going to be I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be funny.
I want you to read Sabrina's comment.
You guys have been a breath of fresh air tonight. Oh, thank you, Sabrina.
So I like that comment.
Oh, Joe, we're getting close to wrapping it up too.
Yeah, we are.
I know you got to.
This is actually a perfect time. I mean, we're getting into politics now. You know what? I'll let you end it tonight because I ended yesterday's. So
no, I ended up closing it out. I mean, all I can say is Giants fans. I know it's tough. We're frustrated with the team. We all are. We all expected more of this team. I mean, if they were 1-2 right now, I'd be like, okay, we're still growing, but being down 0-3 and then losing the way we did yesterday to a bunch of backups, and we did. The Giants lost to a bunch of backups, and when I see people saying they're not going to watch the Giants anymore or give up on the team or just lose the rest of the games and tank for Trevor, step back and ask yourself why you're a Giants fan. If you truly love this team and you're a fan of the team, then just keep rooting for them. Don't give up on them. It's going to be a tough season. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's probably going to be a tough remaining 13 games, then we're going to lose more than we're going to win, let's be honest. But don't give up on the team. I mean, if I gave up on the San Antonio Spurs in the 90s, when they kept making the playoffs and getting eliminated year after year with David Robinson being called soft and this, that, and the other, then he gets injured and misses 76 games, and the Spurs have their worst year in almost a decade, I could have given up on the franchise. I said, no, I'm a Spurs fan. I'm sticking with them. We drafted Tim Duncan. It was a dynasty, and I saw 5 rings. Now I'm saying the Giants are going to see 5 rings in the next 15 years, but you never know what's going to happen. And Daniel Jones might be playing bad now. Phil Simms sucked his first few years and was injury prone. Eli started off slow. Don't give up on guys until we're 100% sure they're not the guy. And Daniels played 16 games and only 15 starts. So just don't give up on DJ. Don't give up on the Giants yet.
All right. And you know what? I agree 100% with my man TSR. But what I do know is what you gonna do when OGR and TSR run wild on you. You guys have a great night. Thank you to everybody in the chat, and we are gone.